On my channel, I've talked a lot about the various MVP winners throughout NBA history, but what I haven't done is express my genuine opinion on who the most undeserving MVP winners were. Today, I'm giving you my list starting with the least egregious to the most egregious, and hopefully, by the end of this video, everyone who's deserving has ate well, like you, for example. That's why today's video is brought to you by Factor. My wife and I work hard to bring quality content to this channel, but we don't want to compromise our eating habits while we're working. That's where Factor comes in. Factor's no-hassle prepared meals have helped us make sure something good is always available on days where we don't have time to cook. Factor's fresh, never-frozen meals are fast and tasty, delivered right to your door and ready in under 2 minutes. You can choose your favorite meals and let Factor craft your order based on your taste preferences and meal history. With weekly updated menus that include over 27 meals and over 33 add-on options, you'll always be able to find your favorite new meal. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code JohnnyArnett50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Factor has helped us avoid getting takeout with delicious and nutritious, no-nonsense food that's ready to eat when we are. So again, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code JohnnyArnett50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. So starting off the list, the 5th most undeserving MVP in NBA history was Joel Embiid in 2023. I gotta admit, sometimes it's very hard to put very recent events on lists like this, because it often feels like we haven't had enough time to process everything and objectively rank it within the grand scheme of history. With that being said, I felt like I just gotta have this recent MVP race on the list. From an individual standpoint, Joel Embiid certainly had a fantastic regular season, as he averaged 33 points and 10 rebounds on 65.5 true shooting percentage. The thing is, there seemed to be a manufactured push to get Embiid the MVP award. The media was pushing it, Embiid was basically begging for it, and voter fatigue was beginning to set in for Jokic, seeing that he had won the MVP award in the previous 2 seasons. Having Embiid on the list is not an indication that I wasn't impressed by his season. It's just an indication that Jokic's season was significantly more impressive. He played more regular season games than Embiid, he had a better player efficiency rating, a better win share total, and a much higher true shooting percentage. Jokic nearly averaged a triple-double with the highest assist per game average ever for a player at the center position. You really can't say enough positive things about what the Joker accomplished. From an offensive standpoint, you could argue that Jokic had the most efficient season in NBA history. For example, of all players who averaged at least 20 points per game, he had easily the greatest true shooting percentage of all time at 70.1%. At the end of the day, there was no legitimate reason to give the award to Embiid over the Joker. Number 4. Bill Walton in 1978. At first glance, Walton may seem like a very deserving MVP this season. For one, his Portland Trail Blazers were the defending NBA champions, and he did put up solid numbers of 19 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2.5 blocks on 52% shooting from the field, while finishing the regular season with a 58-24 record. But here's the part you might not be aware of. Walton was dealing with injuries as he always was, and because of this, he only participated in 58 of the Blazers' 82 regular season games that season. That 58 game total is the fewest ever by a player who won the MVP award. The player who he narrowly won the race over was the 25-year-old star George Gervin, who led his Spurs to 52 wins and put up averages of 27 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals on 53.6% shooting. And unlike Walton, Gervin played all 82 games. Honestly, you could argue that George Gervin, David Thompson, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar were all more deserving than Walton was that year, based on the fact that he missed nearly 1/3 of that season. In fact, of the top 5 MVP vote getters that season, Walton easily had the fewest win shares. Based on the new modern rule that a player needs to play at least 65 games to win an award, Gervin would have been the league MVP instead, and probably rightfully so. Number 3. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in 1976. From an individual standpoint, no single player was a more dominant and productive presence in the 1970s than the 7-foot 2-inch Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. From a statistical perspective, there's basically no reason why Kareem was undeserving, as he put up monstrous averages of 28 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 blocks on 53% shooting. The thing is, as much as he was tearing up other centers within the league, it wasn't translating to much winning, as his Lakers finished that regular season with a losing record of 40-42 while missing the playoffs. Even with that disaster of a season, they still gave him the MVP award. I would argue that the only thing that's actually valuable at that point for the team was their draft pick for their losing record. On the other hand, the 1975 MVP, Bob McAdoo, just narrowly missed on winning the award for the second straight season, as Kareem finished with 409 voting points, and McAdoo finished with 393. McAdoo led his Buffalo Braves to a solid 46-36 record, while putting up 31 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks on 48.7% shooting. McAdoo's Braves obviously made it to the playoffs that year, alongside of their winning record, which is a testament to his important value. Giving the award to a player who missed the playoffs is a highly questionable decision in general, but especially after the 1960s decade, where they gave the award to Bill Russell instead of Wilt Chamberlain over and over again. It seemed like a grossly inconsistent decision by the voters, making this specific award in 1976 even less legitimate in my eyes. Number 2. Dave Cowens in 1973. As I was starting to write this script, I was wondering what the heck was wrong with the voters in the 1970s, but I realized it actually makes sense, seeing how the players did the voting prior to 1979, and they were literally on drugs. Cowens was a fantastic superstar player who is an underrated big man of Celtics history, and he did have a solid season as he put up averages of 20 points, 16 rebounds, and 4 assists on 45% shooting. His Celtics did have an incredible 68-14 record, which helped him secure the award. But here's the thing, he was barely the MVP of his own team, as John Havlicek and JoJo White had comparable monstrous seasons of their own. Then you look at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was barely the runner-up for the MVP award. Not only did Kareem destroy Cowens from a production standpoint, but he was also the clear leader of his Milwaukee Bucks that ended up winning 60 games. Kareem averaged 30 points, 16 rebounds, and 5 assists on 55% shooting, while nearly doubling the win share total of Cowens. Simply put, this should have been in favor of Kareem, and it shouldn't have been even close. Number 1. Bill Russell in 1962. To me, this is the most undeserving MVP award in NBA history, and it's not because Russell didn't have a solid season, but it's because of who he was up against. Russell led his Celtics to a 60-20 record while putting up 19 points, 23 rebounds, and 4 assists on 45.7% shooting. I understand that Russell was the leader of the team with the best record in the NBA, and technically he gets an edge for being on the winning team. But it's not like Wilt Chamberlain's team wasn't winning as well. Wilt led his Warriors to a 49-31 record, which was the second best record in the East. And he did that while averaging a goofy 50.4 points, 25.7 rebounds, and 2.4 assists on 50.6% shooting. He had a 32-point edge over Russell in points per game while being more efficient from the field and from the free throw line. He had the edge in rebounds, and he outperformed Russell in basically every advanced stat. The only things you could objectively point to as an advantage for Russell was slightly higher assists and a better team record, but that's not necessarily a reflection of their individual talent that season, but more about their supporting casts, as the Celtics had twice as many All-Stars on their roster. In his career, Russell deserved several Finals MVPs, many DPOYs, and several League MVP awards. But in this case specifically, this one should have gone to Wilt. And as far as I'm concerned, anyone who argues otherwise just wants to be different. So what do you guys think? There are many different controversial MVP awards that could have made my list, but didn't. Which one do you think should have been on here? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.